I'm Kurt Shimmers. Every day, fortunes are gained and lost in the financial markets. News, trends, and even geopolitical events shape your financial landscape. Join me and my expert guests right now on Traders Nation. Welcome. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Don and I have got a great show for you. Raghee Horner's back with us again today. We're going to be talking about oil prices. They're on the rise, even though OPEC has agreed to hiking output. What's going on there? We're going to delve into that question with Raghee here today. Plus, Don and I have got a great list. Big day, towers, data movers are on our list here today. Gaming stocks are definitely on the move here today. Find out which ones are advancing and those gains, charts, and a whole lot more. So gas, stocks, and a whole lot more. Stay tuned right here at Traders Nation. We'll be right back.
Traders Nation. Get Pro Online DVD Trader today. Whether you're an experienced trader or just beginning, you'll improve your skills dramatically. Click on the Knowledge Center button to order your copy today. Traders Nation, delivering what you want when you want it. Traders Nation.
Hi, this is Willie Nelson, and you're tuned in to Traders Nation.
Welcome back. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. As Willie. We had him on the show. Remember talking about biofuel, diesel fuel. Remember that, Don? You can find that.
That's right.
Yeah, find that interview over at our YouTube channel, TradersNation.com. Hey, speaking about that, Pro Online Trader DVD, get a copy today at TradersNation.com. Learn about candlesticks, charts, resistance, moving averages, fib retracements, and it goes into advanced and a whole lot more. You don't have to know anything about charting, and this will help you, teach you to learn about all those things. So if there's anything that's confusing to you, you don't understand, you don't get it, get a copy of this today. Go to TradersNation.com, click on the More button, and you can get a copy of Pro Online Trader DVD here today. Hey, Don, I want to get into gambling stocks, okay? Looking really good here today, and certainly Las Vegas Sands right on the top here, Don.
Yep.
Ticker symbol LVS is Las Vegas Sands, currently trading at $79.62. About 570K shares exchanging hands here today. Resistance right here at $80.50. If you bring your charts up on this, folks, do this. LVS, bring your charts up on this. It's recovering from that dividend that it had the other day, a 75-cent dividend per share on 6/19. So bring your charts up on that and check that out. Don, your thoughts?
Well, dividend payer, LVS stock took a little bit of a dip.
Yeah.
Strong company.
Yeah.
Macau all the way, just like the others that are based here in the U.S., but they do a lot of business in Macau. Here it is, $80 a share. Is that the 52-week high? I think it could be close.
It really is. It's
sure.
right. Yeah, it's right there at its 52-week high, Don. And once again, LVS is a ticker symbol on that one. Hey, Don, we've been talking about this other stock, Wynn, okay, for quite some time. Last year in the fourth quarter, got up to $200. Steve Wynn had some sexual harassment problems within the corporation. He resigned, blah, blah, blah. We all know about that stuff, okay? The stock dropped to 160, 165. And it since made itself back up to the $200 range, but really had a difficult time at that $200 range. If you're listening, bring your charts up on Wynn, W-Y-N-N. So it came back up to its glory at $200 range, Don, but just really couldn't get past through that, really couldn't hold. Maybe we see some profit taking going on with Wynn. Continues to not do so well in the markets, trading at $171.26 here today, Don.
Now, this is a company, Steve Wynn obviously is gone now. Nothing fundamentally with the company has changed.
Yeah.
The majority of Wynn's revenue comes from Macau. A lot of investors don't know that. And so each time that Macau might weaken for a month or two, the stocks take the stock pattern here, they take a little bit of a dip.
Okay.
My position on Wynn right now is back up to truck at $170 in here. So nothing fundamentally has changed. Strong business, worldwide growth going on. So same as Las Vegas Sands, Wynn. And then, of course, our other gambling stock that we have here, domestically, Penn, P-E-N-N.
Nice.
Take a look, folks. $34.66 today.
Yeah.
That's up we introduced that stock. I can't remember where, but this stock is it's strong. They just
I think it was in the low 20s, Don, or in the mid 20s.
Right.
I think it was. It was in the 20 range. I'd have to look at our historical information, but I think that's where it was at, Don.
Yeah, and a lot of these gambling stocks have REITs to go with them. So the gameplay here is that they make the acquisition like Penn just did.
Yeah.
They spin off immediately the property to a holding company or a REIT. VICI is the stock symbol on the one Penn just sold it to. But having said that, frees up the balance sheet. They pay rent on the properties, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And that's similar to what they do in the tower business.
Sure, I like it, Don. I like it. So PEN and Penn National Gaming currently trading at $34.66, like Don's saying. About 277K shares exchanging hands here today. It's not bad. A little bit on the light side, if you ask me. Average volume on this 1.3 million shares a day, Don. It did recover nicely.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it recovered nicely off that $32 mark. So bring your charts up on this PENN. You'll see that it came down, and it did a nice reversal to the upside at $32, Don. Okay, you're going to see some resistance at 36.
And the other company that's doing nicely in this business is MGM. MGM Resorts, that's the symbol. MGM in here at around $30.30. Expanding once again. They bought Boyd Gaming out of Atlantic City with the Borgata.
Sure.
And so they own that lock, stock, and barrel now. They're opening up a new facility up in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And so it's another one that's on the move.
Yeah. Hey, Don, I was just in Vegas over this last weekend. It was absolutely fantastic there. Folks are, having a good time. The rooms were full. We ended up upgrading to a suite, but it was full. It was full. People having a good time out there gambling, sitting by the pool, spa, everything, Don. So money's being spent. Yeah, it's good money. And you know this, Don. We were on that conference call, and they were saying that 50% of their revenue comes from rooms. They got a 50% margin on those rooms. That's phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Good deal.
In some instances, it's difficult to get a room. And the last but not least is the Carl Icahn play in the business, and that's Tropicana.
Yeah. All right. And what's the ticker symbol on that one, Don?
I'm just looking for it. TPCA, Tropicana Entertainment.
TPCA, you're right.
Properties in Vegas, properties in Atlantic City, although they just sold AC.
Yeah, the old Tropicana, right? The old Tropicana.
That's right.
TPCA.
That's right.
Bring it up on your radar. Check it out. Put it on your list. TPCA. All right, Don, let's go into some payment processors, okay?
Okay.
They're doing fantastic. MasterCard certainly is on the top of my payment processor list right now. Currently trading at $200.46, 447K shares exchanging hands. Now, what's going on here? Bring your charts up on this, folks. Check it out. You got a consolidation right at this level at $200, okay? It's just doing the sideways lateral movement. So it needs to hold these levels, and it needs to digest the gains that MasterCard has seen over the past weeks, okay? Even months if you want to go even further, okay? But it's at these heights. It's got to digest these gains. Don, your thoughts?
Well, what can I say about MasterCharge? Leaders in the business.
Yeah.
They invented the game.
Yeah.
So company's done well, and of course we've got a few others in this sector that are doing well as well.
Yeah. All right.
We've got PayPal, and Square. PayPal just made a small acquisition, California-based company called Similarity, and what they do is they sell machine learning-based technology to help with fraud. Bottom line, helps risk management. So they're broadening their wings a little bit. PayPal trading in here at around $85. And Square, SQ, what can we say about Square? Trading in here at $66.25 right now. And Square has just jumped the other day. The state of New York has suddenly allowed now Bitcoin trading to take place.
Really?
And they have a subsidiary called Cash, CASH. It's not a stock symbol, but it's owned by Square. They were approved by the state of New York, their app for crypto trading. So we'll see what happens with that.
Okay, awesome. Check that out. So one thing I want to touch on real quickly, Don, is that fraud prevention, fraud management, right? as the criminals, the bad guys out there. I mean, they're getting more sophisticated, Don, and so the growth in the payment process area is going to continue to grow, and the need for fraud management and prevention is going to grow in tandem with that. Good spaces to be in, Don.
Yeah.
All right. So PayPal for $84.95 currently where it's trading at right now. 1.4 million shares exchanging hands. Just to let you know right now for those chartists, okay, and that's why we're here, is that slightly biased to the downside here today. All my chart indicators say so. All right. So keep an eye out for that. All right. So keep an eye out for that. All right, and the other one was, of course, Square. We'll talk about that on the other side. Hey, Raghee Horner is going to be with us here today. All right, she's coming up next. We're going to be talking about oil prices. They're on the rise, even though OPEC has agreed to increase their output. All right, so we're going to find out why that's happening and a whole lot more. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Steve Forbes. You're watching Traders Nation.
Welcome back. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. My pleasure to have back with us once again Raghee Horner. All right, futures and trading expert over there at Simpler Trading. Raghee, welcome back to Traders Nation. How are you today?
Thanks for having me back. It's great to be here. It's an excellent day.
It is an excellent day, isn't it? Hey, oil prices are on the rise, even though OPEC has agreed to hiking output. What's going on there, Raghee?
It's a really interesting narrative because what happens before these meetings is OPEC will start to signal the market what they may do, and probably going out about 2 weeks when we saw crude oil start to sell off, the market was preparing for an increase in output of 300 to 600,000 barrels, and you could see the way crude kind of topped out and then started moving lower. Yeah. So once we got the actual news, this was very much a sell the rumor, buy the news kind of reaction. Sure. So I've been looking for this rip higher after the meeting.
Right, right. OPEC has they got this tightrope that they really got to walk on, don't they? Between what the expected production increase while communicating maybe even a different message when it comes to that. How are they going to get through all that?
Well, the message they're communicating is basically twofold, right? They've got to basically satisfy a lot of energy ministers from countries like India and China, who are their biggest consumers going forward. Those are their biggest clients going forward. And India has been pretty vocal about the fact that they're tired of paying prices as high as they've been. So OPEC's going to put on a show, especially when it comes to the Saudis. They're going to put on a show, and they're going to communicate to the world and to these specific energy ministers, hey, we're here for you. We're going to do what we can. We'll increase output. Sure. But on the flip side, they know they want to take that road show for Aramco back on the road next year. Sure. And if crude oil is not above 72, they're in big trouble.
Oh, big trouble. So you mentioned just a moment ago 600 barrels that's going to be going out to the market per day. Is this enough to meet demand on the demand side at all?
Well, at this point, we're seeing mixed pictures on demand. OPEC is always going to have a much higher estimation of what demand will be. But if you look at IEA and EIA numbers, they've actually been lower for 2019. So this idea of demand might be a little bit of a fiction, but it only matters what the market thinks is real. Even the Venezuela story is probably decreasingly unimportant. It's just really unimportant at this point because their output is decreasing, and that means that there's less oil hitting the market from Venezuela anyway. So a lot of these narratives really don't impact the bottom line.
Yeah, well, I mean, even the U.S., our production output should make up some of that demand anyways, if it's there, right? I mean, we've been putting our demand, our output's been greater than we've seen in recent years.
You bring up a great point, and that's exactly true. And that's where I think there's some opportunity for investors and traders, because the only bottleneck right now is literally a bottleneck. We can't get the crude out into the marketplace fast enough. I mean, our shale output is phenomenal, but transport's a problem. Trucking has been benefiting. Railroads have been benefiting. If you take a look at the Oil Explorer ETFs, they've been benefiting. And that's where I think traders and investors can jump in on the ride and take advantage of that. But remember, if we're going to end up with that 25% tariff from China, I don't think that's going to happen. Right. But if we end up with that, then, of course, the shale becomes completely uncompetitive out in the world marketplace. Yeah. So there's an interesting, like you said, it's very much a tightrope. But I think there's opportunity for investors, and that is who has to actually get the cash infusion to expand and grow the infrastructure here in the U.S., and that's those like ETFs like the XOP.
Well, I think you're onto something there, because let's face it, in fact, I know you are. All the supporting trucking, refineries, all these supporting industries that surround themselves around that oil, great plays there, right?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times if futures traders would think about the dominoes falling into the equity space, and equity players would look at where the dominoes are falling from the future space, they could see that the result is, hey, there's opportunity in, say, small cap energy. There's opportunities in ETFs like OIH, XOP, XLE, and they can try to play it with where the money's going to flow in an effort to get this shale out of the U.S. and to these countries that want it.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at drilling companies. All these companies are coming to mind that support this industry. Certainly, refineries. I scratch my head all the time on this. We don't have enough refineries. I just don't understand why we're not building more refineries. Certainly, that's got to be a conscious decision not to do that. But why don't we see more refineries out there to process some of this crude oil?
Well, I think that can go back to what was happening in the previous years, where the shale output per well and the current price of crude, that oil-to-debt ratio just didn't justify the banks basically opening up more credit to these companies. And so now that the oil-debt ratio is very nice, and the wells on a per-well basis are now basically profitable, even just around $40, even below $40, with crude sitting at $68.50 right now. And even before that, crude oil sitting between 60 and 70. We had the biannual review just a couple months ago. So we're finally seeing some of that money flow. The U.S. is building a refinery, but, these things cost $1 billion with a few dollars. So we needed the money.
And now I hope we have it. I'm hoping, right? And we'll see. We'll be able to forecast on the horizon that it's going to be used and continue to be used. Hey, before we run out of time, I want to talk about the potential 25% tariff in regards to the Chinese and the potential looming trade wars that may come down the pipe. Is that going to affect oil production or oil output, for that matter?
Well, China is obviously, they buy a lot of that crude oil that we put out right now. I can't imagine we won't find other buyers. India comes to mind. I don't think they have quite the appetite China does. But when we talk about tariffs, of course, crude oil is going to be affected. We're already seeing how soybeans are reacting to these potential tariffs. So I think ultimately the way we see the ramp up with the way that we're negotiating, if you want to call it that, these different agreements, whether it be NAFTA, whether it be with China, I think it's going to get ugly on the surface, and then all of a sudden everybody's best friends. We're just waiting for when that transition is going to happen, and it's got to happen. It's best for both countries. They're going to come to the table. But in the meanwhile, I think we're seeing where there might be some very interesting buying opportunities. The Dow's been hit hard. I tell people to have a wish list, right? Have a wish list for when these kind of narratives put your names that you'd like to be in longer term on sale. So I encourage everybody to be opportunistic here and be realistic about good names, but at great prices.
Right. Now, if to find a wish list, certainly to put one together, what would be a great way for some of these folks to take a look to see what would potentially they would want to have on their wish list? Any good ideas there that folks can start gathering great names, tickers to start that wish list that you're talking about?
Sure. So you want to go to first where the market's been sort of battered. Let's start with the Dow. That's been probably battered the most when you think of Russell, S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow. So I would start with the Dow. Then I would start to look at names that additionally have been hit hard because of the tariff narrative. So Boeing, Deere, Caterpillar, these names have been hit pretty hard. And then I would start to build a list together. Like, for example, Home Depot has been fine, right? So you can actually look at the relative performance leaders like Home Depot and say, look, once the market's ready to rally, I can already be long Home Depot or UNH because they've been strong. I would avoid the financials, but I would look at, say, Caterpillar, Deere, Boeing, names like that.
Builders. And let me tell you something, too, because I've been out there on the road, and this is no benchmark, okay? But I'm really excited I'm seeing a lot of building going on. I'm seeing apartments going up. I'm seeing housing communities being rebuilt out there. And it's not only here, but I've been out of the state of Arizona. I'm in Arizona, been in Nevada, and I'm seeing it everywhere I go, and I'm loving seeing it. All right, we're out of time here today, Raghee. Where can we find you at? Where can we find you? What's the website?
Sure. You can find me at simplertrading.com.
All right, simplertrading.com. Raghee Horner is with us here today, futures and trading expert. Always a pleasure. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
You bet. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
That's
right, Donna. That's right. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. Great interview. You can catch rebroadcasts of Traders Nation at YouTube and also our website, tradersnation.com, for those that need to. Hey, Don, what do we got? We got a little bit of time here. You want to talk about data centers? What do you want to hit?
Well, sure, because data centers, they have been and they continue to be the wave of the future in this e-commerce business.
Yeah.
And, of course, we've been covering the top 5 data center REITs in the world, for that matter. We've got EQIX is one of them that we follow. Several others are DLR, which is another big data center.
Sure.
Of course, we've got QTS. And Core, COR.
Nice.
Now, these companies, it's very simple. These are the companies that build the data centers that the Amazons, the Googles of the world use. And now we're getting into hyperscale data centers, where the data centers are even larger. And that's where these REITs are really sparkling. So data centers have a future.
They do.
And of course, we've got our tower businesses that have a future as well.
We'll have to catch the towers on the next show. Don, do you own anything we talked about here today?
No, I don't.
All right. So just to let you know, I don't own anything either. Plus, these are not buy-sell recommendations that we're talking about here today. We want to teach you charting. You need to learn about these stocks that are out there and what charting looks like. All right. We appreciate you tuning in today. Have a great day.